Only one kid in history had ever attempted what Benny was about to. And he got eaten. So we were worried. Real worried. Even when Benny brought out the secret weapon. Shoes guaranteed to make a kid run faster and jump higher. PF Flyers.
We can't let him do this, man.
All right, happy hump day, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Slate Laced podcast. We hope you're doing well. Blair, how you doing?
I'm all right.
Just all right?
Well, there's a lot of stuff going on and all that, but like outside of that stuff, yeah, I'm good. I'm alive, so can't say too much.
We out here. We got some good news though. Theaters have been back open for a couple weeks now. I think we might have mentioned on the last podcast.
Yeah, they're open.
Have you gone in?
No, I haven't gone yet, but
Yeah, I haven't either. I think we were saying last time I don't even know what's playing, but I still don't.
No, I've been keeping up with what's playing and stuff,
I ain't
but
been seeing no trailers. Where are the trailers at?
Well, yeah, I think it was just because of everything that was going on. Now, I guess the way you see trailers isn't traditionally like through TV and stuff. You're kind of seeing it like on Instagram and things like that. So if you're not seeing them there, then you ain't seeing them. But yeah, I've seen some trailers and stuff for things that are coming out.
Yeah, I got to try to catch something in theaters. The way this work is set up, people trying to be funny. I ain't got no free time, but I do want to hop in and hit the ranch and catch a flick. Yeah. And see what that's about. So we ain't got to really push to the burbs, Burbank. But we'll keep you guys posted on that. Maybe I'll go pop up on the story if I go this weekend, but we'll see. Anyways, today is a film episode. We saw American Skin. It's not necessarily a new movie. I don't know why. I just kind of heard of it though.
No, I remember when it
last
came
year
out.
Or 2 years ago. Just 2 years ago now. This is 2019, guys.
I remember seeing the beginning of the trailer. The way it's set up is it just shows the tape. Of him getting pulled over, and I remember seeing that
in 2019.
Yeah, but I don't know why. Then all of a sudden I forgot about it, and then when you mentioned it again, I was like, oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I feel like it didn't get no press, no movement. It didn't make any waves because I don't think I heard about it till probably like late 2020, almost 2021. Okay. So here we are in 21, checking out the movie. So it's not necessarily a new release for you guys, but nonetheless, it's a timely movie and something that we want to touch on.
Yeah, I think even Snoop Dogg was pushing it.
You're right, but I still think that was 2020.
Yeah.
I think he pushed it late too. Maybe it got stalled or something like that because I know it's written and directed, directorial debut of Nate Parker, who also stars in it. He's been in a bunch of stuff, but yeah, this is definitely his baby. So maybe something happened with that. Maybe it was at Sundance first and then did like a theatrical or worldwide release. I don't really know the logistics of it, but yeah, we checked it out. It was, we'll get into all that, but right now we're probably not going to spoil this one. We want you guys to see it, unless you want to.
No, that's fine. You don't want to? No.
Yeah, we're just going to do a straight off review, give you our thoughts. But anyways, I want to start with the summary. Of course, like I said, it's written and directed by Nate Parker. A Marine veteran working as a school janitor tries to mend his relationship with his son after a divorce. When his son is killed by police officers, found innocent, standing trial, he takes matters into his own hands. You kind of get right away what the movie's going to be about from that synopsis. I also feel like the trailer that I ended up seeing showed a lot of kind of what goes down.
Okay.
As far as like the whole situation. But let me not say it. Anyways, let's get into the initial thoughts. Blair, what'd you think before watching?
Before watching, the title seems interesting enough, right? You're just like American Skin, okay. You obviously know this is definitely a racially motivated film, just kind of based off of the title. So I was, I'm like, okay, this should be interesting, and if it's not, it's definitely gonna ruffle some feathers, without a doubt. So initially I was kind of going in thinking that I kind of was just like I wasn't familiar with the title. Like I was saying, I was just like, what is this, right? And then when I started to watch the film, I was like, oh, that's right. That's what Snoop Dogg was pushing. Oh, that was the one when I seen, he was getting pulled over by the police and he was getting out the car, right? And it's just, so then like everything was sort of connected, and I'm like, okay, well, let's see, where this goes, where this takes me. Let's see how good this ends up being. But initially I was just like, okay, like let's see what's up. It just,
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, again, I didn't, hear about it till late 2020, but I was definitely interested right away from what I saw in that trailer. I was like, all right, this is definitely something I want to check out. Looked like a little bit of revenge was going to start cracking off. So I was definitely interested in that as well. I think I did see a little bit about it on social media. So, anytime the people you're following are hyping it up, it's something that you want to check out. But yeah, I was interested in seeing it. Nate Parker, I'd seen him in a couple other things. So I was like, okay, like this is his little personal project. I'm interested to see what he does with it. But other than that, yeah, I mean, nothing too crazy. I wasn't necessarily like super excited, but it was just gonna be something I was gonna check out,
Yeah. I mean, I was definitely hoping that it was going to be really good, especially with it starting off the way it did in the beginning. I was like, oh, okay, like, here we go.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that it wasn't really good. I was just saying that I was also like hoping, definitely like anxious.
It was definitely unique. And then what I gotta say is I turned it on to watch it, and why am I watching the wrong movie for like the first 10 minutes?
Yeah.
So I'm watching this.
You're watching the one
Son
from the
of
50s.
South.
Yeah.
I'm just watching. I'm like, this is it.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this is
The
an odd way to start.
The intro's the same to both of them, but you only know that if you got the stick.
Yeah, if you got the stick, y'all know. No, I was watching The Son of the South.
No, I'm saying, but the way it opens up, the
the opening. Oh, the credits.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was the same. It's the same as Son of the South. The
Yeah,
whole little,
yeah.
You know, when it comes in and it shows the production.
So I was like,
studio.
oh, okay, like.
Yeah, it's exactly the same. I was watching it too.
And then I was seeing some white people, and I was like,
then
I guess we're gonna start from the white perspective. I didn't know what was going on. I was like, oh, this is interesting. And then I'm looking at the characters. I'm looking at the credits roll, and I'm like, I don't think he's in it. I don't think he's in it. I don't see Homie. I don't see Nate Parker. Like, so I was like, this got to be the wrong movie.
Yep.
But
I'll tell you what though, it made me want to watch Son of the South.
I know.
Though.
I was like, oh, let me check out Son of the
Son of the
South.
South did open off pretty interesting. It did show all of the like 1960s like march and things like that, and I was like, okay.
I said, okay, so we start with the history. Okay, got it. Slavery, segregation, cool.
Yeah, and then the dude was I mean, I saw about 10 minutes of it too. He ended up getting hung, for
and he's
for
talking,
basically
like,
trying
in foresight or hindsight. Yeah. So shout out to Son of the South. We might review. We might review that. But I was definitely watching that movie for like the first 10 minutes. If you got the stick, y'all probably did the same thing.
Yeah.
But anyways, let's get into these pros and cons. Where do you want to start with?
We can start with the pros.
The pros. All right, Blair, go ahead.
I think the film was interesting. I think it had a cool perspective on just like, okay, what if I do want to get redemption? Like, what is a way that I can go about it, but still be somewhat nonviolent, and try to get the world to see what it's like, being African American and having a kid, and then losing their child, and what life is truly like, because this is this story that just seems to keep going and going and going, and it's like we've heard this story a million times, and obviously that was, I believe, Nate Parker's whole motivation behind it is kind of like, man, what is a way that I can kind of get people to see this, because this is happening way too often, and I'm not seeing any change, and so I think it was very creative in the approach of like, okay, we're gonna take this young kid and we're gonna do it like a student film, and we're just gonna keep it rolling. Like even the footage felt very student-esque, like it wasn't some high budget film, which was obviously intended, because if he wanted to, he could get the money to go that route, and have it super high budget and look like, really crisp and high definition, video quality, but that wasn't what he was going for. And sometimes when you do things like that, you do lose the message, because it's all about the image and everything like that. But anyways, I do believe that another thing that made it really interesting for me is just the perspective of like, this man fought for America. You know, he was in the war, and then he comes home, and you do all this to fight for, you know, everybody basically. Then you come home, and then now you're sort of back to reality. And, you know, and I'm not saying like African American or half men, you know, but the struggles that he's having are not the same struggles that someone of a different race may be suffering with, you know. And then for him to essentially go through what he goes through, and it's like, man, I'm out here serving my country, you know. So I think it was a cool perspective to play it that way as well, because, you know, most of them end up being, you know, just, I guess, your typical, I don't know, African American just works like a regular job or something like that, and then they kind of go through it. But it's like, man, I feel like you're supposed to feel more for this man because he also served for your country as well. And then he went through all of this. So I think there was really a lot of positives to me in the movie. I think it's just like there was a few cons that kind of like outweighed the pros, I do believe.
Okay.
I do think it was actually very entertaining. I think people would be surprised by like my entertainment rating for this film at the end. Okay. For me, again, it was one of those ones where I never watched the clock. In my mind, it was short. It just kind of got right to it. I think the film, it jumps right in from the beginning, right? Like, we start with the actual action and everything that happens that incites everything that, you know, that comes later. It's like you're trying to say everything without saying the film, you know, but it's like the action that does take place right then and there in the very first couple minutes of the film sets everything off, and it's like a domino effect, but there's no lagging moments to me after that. It just kind of, everything happens, you're like, oh, okay, cool. And then so you never get the moment where you're like, okay, this is dragging along, this is like a dull moment. Like, you never really have that. I do think that I like that this character, the main character that he made, is very insightful. He's very smart. You know, he's very intelligent, articulate. You know, it's like what they don't expect African Americans to be. You know what I mean? So it's like when so he's doing this, and it's like, yes, he's breaking the law, but at the same time, it's like it almost seems as if he's not. You know what I mean? He's just trying to recreate a jury. You know, I'm trying not to go in without saying it, but I just think that all of that to me even feels somewhat original as well. So, I mean, I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, I agree with you on the documentary style filmmaking. I like that aspect, whereas they didn't just do this straight up, you know, way of, you know, A camera, B camera. They definitely did this, dare I say, found footage type style. And it was really well executed, because I guess like the whole overarching theme is that they are shooting a documentary, you know what I'm saying? So I think that was a really unique take on filmmaking for this type of movie, because I don't think we ever go into police brutality type movies, African Americans versus the police type movies from this angle. So I like that. I thought the cast was cool, with the exception of one character. I'll get into that. But I think this was a good job for Nate Parker on his directorial debut for sure. And I also like the timeliness of the movie. Let's talk about it. These are things we need to talk about more and more. So I like the fact that we're shedding light on police brutality. And then I just kind of like the whole, like, let's go for redemption aspect of the movie and make people feel how we feel every day. You know, black people, we feel threatened when we're getting pulled over. So let's try to get you to see from our perspective. So get you to feel something. So I like that. And then, like Blair said, it jumped off right away. That's what I'm talking about. Let's get into this action. I don't need the setup. Like, let's go. So from the jump, like, the movie is going. It's great. It's very entertaining. You're not bored. Didn't check my watch, like Blair said. And then, yeah, it's just very fast paced. So you get right into it. That's what I love, and it's entertaining throughout. There's never really a dull moment for me.
Yep.
So I like that too. Pacing was great. Other movies take note, because I know we've been ripping pacing.
Yeah.
For what?
Yeah.
The past 19 movies. So
yeah, but we just haven't had the best luck. There's obviously a lot of movies out there with good pacing.
But this is one, and then again, it was very short, and I kind of like this length. This is a good little length, probably an hour something. This is good.
Yeah, it was hour 29.
Hour 20, perfect. Don't hit that hour 30. We don't need it. But of course, where there's good, there's bad. I honestly didn't have many cons, so I guess I'll start mine off. I know Blair said, he foreshadowed that he had some cons that outweighed the pros, but I didn't have many. Again, I liked that it jumped off right away and it was fast paced, so I was enjoying myself. But I can kind of think in the back of my mind where Blair's going to go with his, but I wanted to touch on some cons that I might think other people will say since I didn't have mine of my own. Okay. And so I think viewers might be coming in like thinking that this whole movie is kind of contradictory. We're preaching one thing, hey, stop being violent toward us, and then we're going and doing other acts of violence. I can see people having that argument like, oh no, it's one-sided, you know what I'm saying? Or like exactly, like it's a biased kind of film. So there's biased, contradictory elements. But I mean, to me, it was good. Maybe it was a little preachy for some people. They could feel like the director, Nate Parker, is just, I'm sticking to one side of the story. This is how we feel, us. Instead of seeing those both sides. But then again, they did let those officers speak their piece. Yep. So, I don't know. But those were just elements that I felt people would have issues with. But other than that, I mean, for cons for me, I didn't really have much. The one character, the student, who's actually doing the film, I think the name of the actor is Sean something McGee. Did not like him. Or Shane McGee, sorry. Did not like that character. I was just like, didn't feel for him in any way. He didn't bring it. He's been in something else I've seen and he did all right, but this one I was like, okay, we could have did without a little homie, like just running around, like getting in the camera. So that's my one con is that actor. I just didn't like his character. I think they could have got somebody better. But let me pass the mic. Go ahead, get into it.
All right. So I mean, there for me there was a few things that I did have issues with. One is kind of like what you're saying. It felt very preachy. It was like as if we just gave the mic and allowed someone to stand on the soapbox and preach for a few minutes for many of the characters.
Yeah. I can definitely see.
And a lot of times, they always say the like, show don't tell, and I get that with this type of film it's difficult because he's going through he's doing this whole thing like courtroom style, and so we're stuck in one setting pretty much for the majority of the film, and so we can't really allow other things to play out that the other characters had actual issues with of the African American race, So I do understand like why they have to stand there and preach and basically say what they have issues with.
Right.
But in my mind, I'm like, all right, well, we have to find another creative way to be able to get that message across without them talking for 15 minutes to get their point across.
I see that too. I get what you're saying, and that's what I'm saying about the preachiness. But then again, we're in this courtroom style. Like it's the defense's turn to speak. So I get both sides of that.
Yeah, no. It's tough. It's definitely tough. It's not like, I'm not sitting here knocking it. I thought it was an interesting film. Yeah. And I'm able to get past all of that. I'm not the movie critic, that writes for like the Washington Post or something. But this is just like me sitting down. I'm like, okay, yeah, they're doing too much there. And like when I'm watching it, I'm like, they're doing too much. That we don't have to do that to get the message across. But a lot of times it's like if we can just create a moment where we can show it, it just it moves way more than someone saying it. So we had a few of those moments. One of the moments that was really just too over the top for me is when like they allowed the he didn't even have a name, the Hispanic character who was on the jury, the jury box, the one obviously one of the inmates, when he just spoke in Spanish for like a few minutes. Yep. I was like, okay, that was a bit too much.
At least subtitle it for us.
But
then again, he tried to say what basically
everyone else had been saying. Right, that's what I'm saying. And then they even gave the soapbox to the Hispanic woman, and she went and hopped up and said what she had to say. And it's just kind of like, all right. We are all in this together, right? We are a unit. We are supposed to be a family, you know. But it just didn't resonate too well. I feel like with the general consensus, me as well. But at the same time, again, it was very interesting. Another thing that I did also have an issue with was one of the students. It was the girl. She was like, it was how like she flip flopped. So the whole time she's like, we got to get help. We got to figure out how to do something. We got to do this, and that, right? You know, and I think that they're torn because they wanna shoot this documentary. Obviously, get the footage. They have to do what they're being told as well, right? But then like towards the end, you seen how she like kind of switched up and then like got on him, you know, and I'm like, whoa, where this is coming out of left field. What is going on right now? I was like, why are we even writing this into the film? You know, we're really only focused on, you know, when in general, really only focused on like 2 to 3 characters at best in a film, and then everybody else is just fillers, and they're supposed to Some
of those characters could have been their screen time could have been chopped, like
So
didn't
this stuff that they were allowing her to say and do is just kind of like, this isn't even pushing the plot, girl. We don't need this.
Yeah. But documentary would have been over had it been Sydney, because I'm not playing this game unless you got a gun to my head. He never threatened.
Well, yeah, and so that was my whole thing. So you're talking about people saying it's, you know, whatever, pushing violence. At the same time, it was almost not, though. You know what I mean? Like,
maybe
it's
it was
like,
that threat of violence, you know?
You know, but that's also the point, you know, too, of course. It's like, because it's like he's doing the same thing that they do.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But at least he had no intent, or he has no, you know, I don't want to say it, but so for me, it was the preaching. It was too much, but it was so much. It was on the level of The Hunt. Too much. You know what I mean? Because in The Hunt, they also were on the soapbox, and it was a lot of preaching, and it was trying to get the message across. For me, you know, and for me, it's always you pick the one side and you go straight for it. You know, if you have more sides that you want to portray, then you save them for other films. You know what I mean? So that was the biggest thing for me. That was the biggest issue that brought the film down, because, like we said, it was not slow.
Right.
It was entertaining.
Yeah. But it just had a lot of you go, I go, you speak,
I go, you go, I go. Yeah. Yes. It's like, you know. People, like, it was almost like no one even interrupted. You know what I mean? Like, nobody, and like I've said before on previous ones of these, is like, that's not real conversation. Not everyone is in agreement with what is being said. So I just feel like it fell short when it comes to that.
I got you. Well, on that note, let's get into, before we get into the ratings, just straight off, do we recommend people see this film?
I do. Yeah. I do think that people should check it out. Obviously, I do want to put the disclaimer out there that there will be a little bit of preaching. You know, some of the stuff will be a little bit over the top. You know, there are obviously going to be some moments that do bother you, you know, some things that we can do without. But I think the overall message and what they're trying to push, I think, should not be overlooked. You know, sometimes we don't always execute to the level that we originally had in our head when we sit down. It's not easy to get an idea.
Yeah, no.
And then sit there and write it, and then get the perfect actor to play the role, and then get the right cameraman and to get the editing all together and all that, and have it come together. It doesn't happen. You know, masterpieces don't come out, you know, that often. So I mean, you just got to keep that in mind. So I am understanding of that, you know, and this is also his first film where he's he's acting, but as a director as well. So, you know, and as a writer. So I do understand that. I do want to say one of the things that I did like also was just kind of showing that there are different sides to African Americans, though. You know, because there was so many different types of African Americans in this film. You know, we always kind of say that there's only one type of African American, right? It's like the one that like cliche, like listens to hip hop. You know, the one that like the world has created for us. But it was like we had that type, but then we had so many others because black is just a color. You know what I mean? It's like there's not a certain way that they're supposed to act. And I think that that's also a big takeaway for this film. And so I think it's very important for people to see this because people need to change their opinions on how they see certain people and how certain people are supposed to act, you know, because that's not factual. And I think he did a good job telling that, though.
Yeah.
So, yes, in the long-winded version, now short, yeah, I do think people should check it out, though.
Yeah, definitely. This it's a good one. It's very entertaining especially for me. For sure, check it out. It's very unique. I kind of like the way it was told. I mean, we're gonna get into the ratings right now, but yeah, I mean, it was definitely a unique take, something that we haven't seen before, covering such a topic that's widely depicted at least once a year, but they did it in a unique way.
Yeah, I guess they do these type of things once a year.
Shoot, it's coming all the time.
Yeah, because it's gonna keep coming until someone really hits it,
or
they
stop.
feel, or they, you know, or they feel like,
or we stop killing black people.
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna be one of those two.
Yeah, so it's gonna be that, you know, it's that white guilt, don't even want to say it type movie that's gonna happen every year. But this one is very interesting and it's fast paced.
Oh, and that reminds me too, the ending. I didn't like the ending. That was the other thing I wanted to say.
Okay. You guys will have to check it out for the ending. It's interesting for sure, and a lot different.
Say that.
But no, I liked it. I liked the character arc. How, you know, you've seen the characters develop, where they started off in the film to where they finished. I liked it all, to be honest. And again, you know, I didn't really have any cons. I just gave you what you guys are probably thinking. Yeah, this is a good one. Check it out today if you have the time. On that note, let's get into the ratings. The Tomatoers gave it a disrespectful 37%. That's kind of wild to me. I don't agree.
I'm telling you, it's the preaching and the message and you know and how it comes across. All of that stuff is very important.
That 3.7 though.
People want a subtle message. People want to like take the message away.
Sometimes you got to slap people in the face.
They want to take it. They want to take it through the art though. They don't want it to be told to them. You know what I mean? Like as the audience, you feel like you're intelligent enough to figure these things out. You know what I mean?
I've met a lot of people. We're not intelligent. I'll tell you that right now.
I know what you're saying,
but no,
still, as like a moviegoer, the people that do those type of critiques, that's what they want. And when you don't do that, and you slap them in the face, and you just keep repeating the message, they have an issue.
So yeah, that was slightly disrespectful for me,
still understandable.
But like Blair said, it is what it is, you know. But the people gave it of IMDb a 6.5, and I feel like that's a little bit better. But that's more of what, you know, the general public is saying, and not these kind of, you know, critiques or critics, that come in it with, you know, a fine tooth comb and going through every, you know, nook and cranny of the movie. The people seemed to like it at the 6.5, and that's a decent middle of the road rating. But let's get into the rating that really matters, the Slate rate. Blair, 1 to 5 entertainment.
See, the thing with our system is like,
I feel like the system's gonna favor this movie.
Yeah,
it's gonna make it better than it really is.
That's how I feel. Yeah, yep. I think as entertainment, it was a 4.
Yep. And then originality.
I'd give it a 3.
Okay, 7.
But I mean, it's not, in my mind, it's not like a 7 film though.
Yeah. For me, entertainment, 4.5. The only 0.5 is for the characters, man. Some of those kids, I mean, I don't think they're kids.
Yeah, but I see. But my thing is like I'm not even considering that, because then if I do that, like all the times that people spoke too long and things like that, that means I got to take down the entertainment value. But
to me,
as a story, as he goes in there, he has a plan, he has an agenda,
yeah.
He's trying, like all of it's entertainment.
That ruined it for me. That ruined some of the entertainment. Was this fool like just popping up like I didn't like him? Sorry, the actor's cool, but he did not just bring it in this movie. I'm sorry. Sean, let me get his name, because y'all gonna think I'm talking about Omari Hardwick or Nate Parker, and I'm not. They did well. It was definitely Shane Paul McGee, yeah, his character. So he's the reason for that 0.5 being taken, or else it might have been a 5 out of 5 on entertainment. But originality, I'm gonna go. I feel like this was pretty original. Aside from the whole police brutality, which is not original, I think it was a unique take. Dare I go 4? I think I'm gonna go 4. So I got it at 8.5 out of 10. You got it at a 7? Or
our rating system's tough though. That's all I'm saying, because it's definitely not no 8.5 out of 10.
We sticking with it now. As far as entertainment though, I was pretty entertained. Like I wasn't bored. So honestly, I'm kind of it's an 8 to me. Like I was chilling. I was in it. I don't know. To me, it was that's fair to me. I don't know. It's not that deep though. Blair's deep.
Yeah,
I'm not that deep. For me, it's like entertain me. That's it. You know.
Nah, yeah, it wasn't deep. It wasn't deep in the least bit.
But to me, that's what I'm saying. Is I don't need it to be that way. But yeah, anything else before we wrap up here? Do we know what movie we're doing next?
12 Angry Men was better though.
12 Angry Men. I think I read that book. I don't think I watched the movie.
You didn't see the movie? Nah, I mean that was that courtroom type, you know.
Yeah.
I just feel like it was the modern version of it. But next movie, no, Son of the South.
It might be Son of the South. There's a Netflix movie that we might have to do just because it's a new release. But I already know it's gonna be low on the ratings, but it's just funny. Okay. Sometimes you just gotta watch. Comedy? Nah, it's like a thriller. But sometimes you just gotta watch something corny that you know is gonna be corny. So we might get into something that dropped on Netflix. We might have some more trailer reactions for you guys. We're gonna start bringing those back. Follow us on the gram. We're gonna start doing those quick reviews again, just so we can get more out, like pump more of these movies out, because we definitely watch more movies than the ones that we review each week. So
yeah, that's true.
I think we should just start quick reviewing them again, throwing those up on the page. But yeah, other than that, Blair. All right, people, thank you for rocking with us. We appreciate you tuning in every week. It is the Slate Laced Gang. We're out.